Manchester United's search for a new permanent manager appears to be drawing to a close.
Yeah, the club are close to appointing Ajax head coach Erik although a deal isn't done yet. United had a four-man shortlist, which included Mauricio Pochettino, Luis Enrique and Julian Lopetegui. But Ten Hag had long been admired internally and was the easiest to secure. He's got a year left on his Ajax contract, but the club won't stand in his way. Ten Hag has won 2 Eredivisie titles at Ajax, and they're currently 4 points clear at the top of the Dutch league.
Mauricio Pochettino had been Ten Hag's main rival for the job. It's understood Ten Hag's compensation price is £1.7 million compared to £15 million for Pochettino. Speaking on Monday Night Football, Wayne Rooney backed the former Tottenham boss to be the next Manchester United manager.
I think Pochettino has done it in the Premier League. He knows the Premier League. He's got at Tottenham, he brought a lot of young players through. At Southampton as well, he brought a lot of young players through. So if I'm choosing from one of them two, that's who I'd choose. I'd go with Pochettino and give him time.
Well, reports claim that Steve McLaren could return to Old Trafford to work under Ten Hag. The pair worked together at FC20 during the 2008-09 season.
I can see that happening very much. Ten Hag was indeed an assistant of Steve McLaren, but he was a rapidly developing coach. He needs somebody, he said before, who knows the setup, who knows the Premier League, who knows every club, every opponent inside out. And that is vital for him. And especially because the relationship was so good, he will not be against taking Steve McLaren on. Ten Hag is probably the biggest fan in European football of Pep Guardiola. He doesn't copy his style, but he loves his style. He worked with him at Bayern Munich. They discussed a lot about the way Bayern Munich at that moment had to play under Pep Guardiola, and he loved it. He played the same way. He had to play the same way with the reserves of Bayern Munich because he had to steam those players ready for Pep Guardiola. And he's done the same style ever since with Ajax, home or away, Champions League or Eredivisie. It's an attack style.
We can cross live to United Views Flex now. Flex, good morning to you. Really good to speak to you this morning. First of all, just what are your initial thoughts on United being so close to appointing Ten Hag?
Yeah, it should be the first step of many, in my opinion, to get the manager sorted. We need some stability. It'll be nice to get an announcement over the next week or two. It's definitely gathering pace. I think amongst Manchester United fans, certainly that I've spoken to, you can never speak for a whole fan base, but certainly the one that I've spoken to, there's an overwhelming kind of surge for Erik Ten Hag to be the next Man United manager. I think he's an exciting coach. He's a coach that, focuses primarily on attributes with the ball at the players' feet, aggressive, physical, playing on the front foot, and likes technical players. I think it could be a good appointment. But I have to stress, for me personally, I feel like this is the first decision that needs to be made in a series of decisions that need to happen at the football club. We're hearing, even from the Sky representation over there in Holland, that Ten Hag wants assurances that this can fit his coaching style, that the surroundings around him is going to be conducive to what he wants to bring in, a philosophy and a culture. And they're very much things that are very important to him at Ajax and why he's so successful at Ajax. He needs that infrastructure around him, and Manchester United need to change a lot. Not just the manager needs to change a lot, but I believe that this could be the first step in doing that.
Was your instinct to want Ten Hag or Pochettino?
Me personally, I mean, I saw them as fairly similar managers. I think in what one can lack, the other one can give you, and vice versa. I think what Pochettino maybe had over Erik Ten Hag is obviously that Premier League experience. I think people do forget that. I think the metric at PSG is probably not a fair judge. I feel like the managers that go through PSG and come out unsuccessful, the common denominator is usually the club. If you don't win the Champions League at PSG, you're pretty much regarded as a failure. When you win Liga there, you're branded with, well, you should, because you have the best players. Pochettino, what's labelled at him a lot of the time is, what has he ever won? Now he's about to win the French League. I know he won a cup last year. He's labelled with, but it's only PSG, and look at the players he got. So it's a bit of a damned if you do, damned if you don't job. But with Erik Ten Hag, I think what I do like about him is the fact that he can rebuild his squad. So he loses his best players near enough every year. You look at Donny van de Beek, De Ligt, Ziyech, players like this, and Frankie de Jong, and he continues to rebuild his team, compete at a high level in Europe. And there's a sense of excitement about him because he looks like he's on an upwards trajectory, where I think the perception with with Mauricio Pochettino is that he's either stagnated or is on a downward trajectory and maybe has peaked. I don't necessarily think that. I would have been happy with Pochettino, and I know that's actually quite an unpopular opinion. But also, equally, I do like Ten Hag, and I think the fact that it seems to be the appointment that a lot of Manchester United fans want, if this happens, the main thing here, guys, is patience. I mean, when it gets rocky, if it gets 6 months in or it gets 6 games in and it hasn't quite gone to plan and things like that, the football club have to stand by this man, relinquish a lot of power and give him the tools and the environment that he needs to thrive.
Yeah, you've used the P word there, the patience word. We were talking about this in early kickoff. I don't want to stitch him up, but one of our guests said that it could take up to 30 years for Manchester United to be challenging back for the title. I'm not going to give you his name, but I mean, how long realistically do you think it would take for Ten Hag to come in and get United back challenging?
It is a really difficult question, in all honesty. I don't know who said that, but I can see why they probably went overboard with 30 years. I don't think that long. But it's already coming up to 10. So I think the key here is the patience. And me personally, I see a 5-year plan. I see a 5-year plan. If that means you're not challenging for the top honours, I think we just need to see year-on-year progression in terms of how the team is playing and a completely different style of play, a complete different style and profile of player. And I want to see us being more progressive. I want to see us start dominating football matches. And that takes time. It's got to be a balance of Ten Hag being able to come in and show enough change in what we're doing if we're not winning titles or big trophies that the fans can get behind. I remember when Jurgen Klopp was, failing in cup finals, but you could clearly see he was progressing. And you could see a way forward there. I think that's what's going to be important. So I wouldn't go with 30 years, although, listen, you can speak to Liverpool fans about how long they went without winning the Premier League. They would never have thought in their wildest dreams that it could be that long. So I'm not arrogant enough or naive enough to think that there won't be more pain. I definitely think that. But I think with Ten Hag being brought in, there should be a 5-year plan. And when it gets rocky, the social media hysteria can't ramp up and we want him out and then players don't want to play under him and then there's more chaos. There has to be a complete blank reset and a blank canvas and full support for whoever the next manager is going to be and changes in and around him as well at board level.
Yeah, well, it looks like it is not far away from that appointment. Flex, great to speak to you. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.